Welcome to another coaching demonstration from the team at MRA. The tool we're showcasing today is At Your Best.
Hi Hilary, how are you doing today?
Hi Sophie, I'm fine, thank you. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, really lovely to see you too. So we have 10 minutes today, and I know on the back of our last session there's a brilliant opportunity about to begin for you, and we talked a little bit about how you wanted to show up really well in that space. Is that still something you'd like to cover in our time today?
Yes, so I'm starting this new role and I really want to make sure that I'm at my best self going into it. So that sounds like it would be a good focus for our discussion. Yeah.
Fantastic. So as always, everything we talk about is completely confidential. As I say, we have 10 minutes. Is there anything you need from me specifically during the session today?
I think it would be good for you to maybe hold the mirror up a little bit, or just give me a bit of support if you notice specifics. That'll be really helpful. So maybe in that sort of high support space would be good for the coaching today.
Okay, so some holding the mirror up and sharing what I'm noticing. Yeah. Brilliant. Okay, so thinking about this new role, which sounds super exciting, I wonder if I might introduce using a tool to help us think more broadly around the particular topic with the time that we have today. Is that something you'd be okay with?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, so thinking about the new role, thinking about what will you have 10 minutes from now that you don't have right now?
I want to feel really confident and energized going into this new role. So if I can just, I suppose, have a bit of a reminder of what that confident, energized self looks like, it means I can reference back if I'm maybe having a bit of a wobble. So just a reminder of how I am when I'm at my most confident and most energized would be great.
Lovely. Okay, so wanting to really connect with that most confident and energized version of you. Brilliant. Okay, so do you have a pen and paper handy, Hilary?
I do, yeah.
So can I ask you to divide the page into two with a vertical line?
Mm-hmm.
And then top left, if you can put a title up there of At My Best, Thriving. Yeah. And then on the other side of the page at the top, if you could put just surviving, please.
Okay, done that.
Lovely. So I want you to really think of a time when you were absolutely at your best. Okay.
Yeah.
You got something?
I have got something, yeah.
So I want you to really connect with yourself in that moment, at that time. What were you thinking, feeling, and behaving?
Okay, yeah.
I want you to start to share some of those thoughts with me, and anything that's really standing out, I want you to capture on the left-hand side of the page.
Okay. So the specific moment I'm thinking of is I was working with a really great group of people and we were talking coaching skills. So highly engaged group, really committed, very enthusiastic, and was kind of feeding off their energy and their commitment. And I really look forward to working with them because they're such a fantastic group of people. So there's a sort of feeding off others, I suppose, and responding to their energy. So really kind of getting their they're really positive and I respond really well to that. It brings me up if they're really positive and engaged. And I suppose it's feeding off them, but it's also a subject matter that I'm really comfortable with, and I really love tutoring on our coaching skills course. So it's sort of comfortable but also challenging. So I know the subject matter and I really love coaching, so it's great to be in an environment where I can talk to that and be with other people. But they're a group that they do all their preparation and they're really invested in it, so they often ask quite challenging questions, which is great as well. So I sort of feel really energized and comfortable, but also challenged when they come in with some of those questions. It's a really nice mix of both, and it keeps me on my toes a little bit, actually, rather than being complacent. It kind of keeps me on my toes, which is a good feeling, because I get energy from that as well.
So what I'm hearing is there's a positive link in there, there's an energy link in there, there's that real sense of connectivity with the team. So although you're really comfortable and you deliver coaching with confidence excellently, I know because I've worked alongside you, but there's also that element of challenge and that unknown in terms of what the questions might be. So that really puts you, in your words, on your toes, which enables you to really be at the top of your game.
Yeah.
And when you think about your values or your MBTI, how do you think they're connected, indeed, if they are at all in any way? What you've described.
I think with Myers-Briggs, there's probably a couple of connections. One is I have an extroversion preference, so gain energy from being with people. So there's an obvious connection there. And I think given the nature of the program, the coaching skills program, it's set modules. So I know what I'm going to be tutoring on in each of the modules. So there's a sort of plan to it, even if you might flex depending on the group and the questions that are asked. There's the general familiarity and comfort with the subject matter. So that sort of plays to my J preference, being kind of planful and being able to think ahead. So there's definitely a link there between Myers-Briggs and being in that situation. In terms of values, I think the biggest one is around making a difference. So that's a really important value of mine, drove me to want to be a coach in the first place. And certainly to see this group in particular, but all the groups, but this group in particular, how they've grown and developed, it really plays to that making a difference value, which is fantastic to see. And again, I get sort of quite positive energy from that.
So some really lovely connections there for you. And, you know, as I say, having worked with you on the program, I see that authenticity and that ability to, you know, having that planfulness, but equally having that openness to that challenge, and really seeing how the program makes the difference to everybody that takes part. So really thinking about the impact, what do you think the impact of you when you show up as your best self is on those around you?
I suppose they're getting the best of me. So I'm energized, I'm engaged. They then feed off that energy and engagement, really bringing people in, making it interesting. So there's a real benefit to others, predominantly in that space of higher energy, which obviously when you're learning, it's nice to have a mixture of both, but as a tutor, it's about keeping the energy levels up across the course of a day, which when I'm feeling at my best, I am much more inclined to be able to do that.
Brilliant. So take a moment to reflect on what you've captured in terms of really you at your best.
Yeah.
And let's just take a moment to jump across to the other side of the page. So really thinking about yourself when you're just surviving, when you're in that survival mode, what you like to be around.
Yeah, so when I'm just surviving, it's a lot of obviously the opposite that's on the thriving side of the page. So definitely lower energy. I tend to go into myself, so I'm less externalizing my thoughts and more internalizing, and that can sometimes lead to a bit of rumination and self-criticism. So it's quite a negative place to be. And I think just, lower levels of engagement. People would notice because I'm not very good at hiding it, so I would be a lot quieter, and not as productive either. So I think that on the thriving side, getting a lot done because of the energy. When I'm just surviving, it's much less going on, and I'm not doing as much and not achieving as much, which also kind of feeds that sort of cycle of feeling less engaged and doing less. It becomes sort of self-fulfilling. And it's generally, when I think about when I'm surviving, it's more spending too much time on my own.
Okay.
So I don't mind a bit of time on my own, and I quite like to get my head into work and have concentrated periods of focus. But if I spend too much time doing that, then it's really not good for me at all, and it tends to bring my mood down. And then when I'm with others, I'd also have an impact on them.
So what I'm really hearing there is you are really clear on what some of those triggers are for you in terms of bringing you out of being the best version and into that sort of more survival mode.
Yeah.
So thinking about the challenge ahead, the new role, thinking about you being the most energized you can be and bringing your best self, what is it that you think you can do to keep yourself on that left-hand side of the page more often and really engaged and focused? What might you be able to do?
I think for me it's about balance. So spending enough time with other people is really important. So not spending too much time on my own, knowing that's not good for me. And it's more difficult, obviously, working from home and not being surrounded by others. It can be more tricky. So I have to be more consciously effortful in spending time with others, even if it's on Zoom or having a phone call, or trying to create the balance between face-to-face delivery and doing coaching at home. So I think it's being more conscious of the need to have that balance. That's probably one of the things that will keep me thriving rather than surviving. And actually there's something about comfort with what I'm doing and proper planning and preparation. So I tend to be in survival mode if I'm with maybe a new group of people. I don't know them, I'm less familiar with the subject matter. That can just create a bit of stress for me, but being prepared can really help with that. So being more planful in thinking about who I'm with, what's the objective of a session, and spending some time preparing for that. So yeah, probably those two things. And then alongside that is in group delivery, I definitely benefit from co-delivering with somebody. So rather than doing delivery on my own, it's helpful to have somebody else's energy to feed off. So being conscious of that and making sure that that's planned into the design of a program.
Okay, so being connected and hearing, being planful around projects and people, and also really connecting with your co-deliverer on some of the programs. So all of those three things combined really support you to be the best version of you. Have I heard that correctly?
Yeah, definitely. Those are sort of the three key areas for me. Yeah.
So last minute or so now, Hilary, so to just really wrap up, reflecting on the session that we've had today, reflecting on those three areas for you that you know are really important, what action might you take as a result of our conversation today to really support you in your new role?
I think there's an importance of people in my new role. So I've actually got a session with the whole team next week, and we're talking about ways of working. And I think one of the ways in which I would benefit, and perhaps others would as well, is if we could have regular touch points in a week where we spend time together as a team, not just talking about projects and tasks, but just having a kind of mix of how we're going to work with each other, maybe updates on projects, but just having an opportunity to connect and talk to other members of the team in a way that without those we probably won't be able to do that. So yeah, that I think that's going to be really helpful, so I can have that conversation next week with the rest of the team and make that suggestion.
Brilliant. So that feels like a real opportunity for you to share your thoughts around this and really build something that's going to help you to be at your best. So we've come to the end of the session now, Hilary, and just sort of circling back to what you really wanted to get out of our time together today, really feeling that energy, feeling confident moving into this new role. On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel it's gone in terms of delivering on those?
Yeah, I think it's probably up at about an 8 or a 9. So it's nice to be reminded of that space, and just to be able to connect with that's really helpful. So thank you. Yeah, it's been really, really helpful.
You're very welcome. See you next time, Hilary. Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes the coaching demonstration. If you'd like to learn more about professional coaching, please visit www.matthewradley.co.uk.